What's up, everyone? I'm Markus from Solence, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
Oh, anyway, thanks for joining me.
Of course. Glad to be here.
What's it like over there in Sweden these days? Is it starting to open up? You starting to be able to get about your business?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird because during this whole pandemic, we've practically had no limitations. We've had no quarantine or anything like that. But now, when everyone else is long, like I think almost everyone has had their second dose of vaccine in the US,
right,
and a lot in the Europe and in the UK too. But here it's a little bit slower, so I'm still waiting on my second one right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's a bit like we've had a freedom which has been very luxurious all this time, but now it's a bit slow, I think. But it's all good. Starting to open up, starting to get there.
Have you gotten any shows lately?
No, man, no. I mean, like I just booked my second shot right now, so I mean, like everything has been kind of like weird for us,
right?
And it's been also like super weird because we haven't toured anything yet.
Right.
We haven't played any shows. We haven't done anything. We recorded our first album, dropped that in November 2019, and then the pandemic hit in 2020, and so we haven't played anything.
Oh, you mean totally, not just since the pandemic?
Totally nothing. Zero.
Oh, wow.
Nope, nothing. Yeah.
That's interesting. So what's it going to feel like when you're finally able to get back out there?
Well, I talked to my friend about that today, and I was like, well, either it's gonna be like the craziest experience ever, and I'm gonna be totally fine, or I'm just gonna pass out in like 5 seconds.
Right.
I've never
excitement.
Like I've never heard anyone sing along to the lyrics in our song. So I mean, like it's just gonna be a mind-blowing experience, I think.
Have you guys done any live streams or anything like that, or you just you've not played together?
We did a quick one for Octane. We did a couple of weeks ago, but that was more like a produced one.
Right.
So I mean, like we haven't done anything like super spontaneous or like just in front of people or like on Zoom or on Twitch or anything like that. So no, nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, sorry, I went down a rabbit hole, and I often do. So
go for it.
Let's talk about Deafening. It's due out, I believe it's due out September 10th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now that it's done, and was this the one that was done in 2009, just before the pandemic?
No, so we released Brothers back in 2019.
Okay.
2020, we released an album called Direction. And now we're releasing Deafening. And we're almost done with the fourth one too. So we have so much material.
So I've got it. How was it, or what was it like putting together Deafening as opposed to what it's usually like when everybody's out and about? Were you just sending files back and forth and sitting in your bedrooms, or how is that working out?
Hell yeah. That's like we all have studios in the band. We're songwriters and producers too. So I'm in the studio here in Stockholm. David, the guitarist, who also produces a lot of stuff, he's in a different studio in another part of Stockholm, and the other two guys is in a different city 2 hours from here, and they also have studios there. So we basically record everything by ourselves and then just send to each other, and that's what we did. That's how we've done it a lot of times in the past too. I mean, like we've jammed a little bit of the songs, like trying to get them together, but mostly it's you're just by yourself, recording yourself and just sending it to different people, and we're putting it together like that. So I mean, like it wasn't really weird to do Deafening like that too. It was more like when the pandemic hit, we were like, okay, we're not going to tour, so we might as well just keep going.
Right.
So there has not been like a super distinct, like clear line in between the albums. It has just been a continuous loop of just creating music.
So I've talked to a lot of bands, and a lot of bands say they didn't really get to do much over this, year and a half or whatever, but it seems like you guys were quite productive, huh? Maybe more so than usual.
Absolutely. We've I think that by the time, like we've gone a little bit insane, I think. It's just like it's been too much. I'm just seeing like these four walls for every day. And just the quick walk to the studio and back for every day for like 2 years now, it makes you go a little bit insane. And also like working on so much material. I think that for the first album, I think it took a couple of years to get it together, you know, like maturing as a band, like finding our places, like everything like that. And now it's just like for this album, we just tried to write as much as possible and do everything as good as possible. And then it was just like go time. So we just went on and just created as much as we could. And I think it helps because we're pretty much used to the studio life.
Right.
So if we would have gone on tour, I think that would be a weirder experience to go on tour and then go back to the studio life. But since we never left, it's like the same thing.
One big writing session.
Yeah. It's like I think we wrote like 300 songs or something for all of these combined albums.
That's crazy. So
yeah.
you've got material even for the future if you needed to go back to it.
It's too much, man. It's too much. A lot of it is shit though, but I mean, like it's too much. Yeah.
With that much stuff written, is it difficult to put together the record? Like, how do you know what's going to go where? How does that work?
I think that we just choose the one we like the most. I mean, like we have pretty similar taste. Right. So I guess that's a great thing also to be in a band with people that have similar taste. I mean, like we don't fight over everything. So that helps a lot. We just feel like this is the demo. The demo feels really good, and this is a song that we should produce. This is a song that we should get some time into.
Okay, so I know Speechless and Push Me to the Edge are out, but I wanted to talk about, because it was brought up in your bio there, the rock. Where am I at? Sorry, the Push Me to the Edge.
Yeah.
What was the story behind it? And because I think this borders on a lot of the stuff we talk about on the show. Unfortunately, my partner's not here. She had a family thing to take care of, so you got just me. But if you could just give us a brief little summary.
I will tell you the story, man. So this is weird. This is a weird story. I think it's one of those stories that affect you a lot, but you don't think of it a lot. So back in maybe 2010 or something, when I was in high school, maybe 2012, 2000, I can't remember, but somewhere along those lines.
Right.
There was a kind of like a get together in and you could play your songs to a jury, to like to some people that had some experience in the music business. It was not like a competition, but you could just get some feedback, basically.
Sure.
So I went there by myself. Everyone had their bandmates, like everyone was like 4 or 5 people accompanied, but I just sat there by myself because I just wanted to get some feedback there, basically, and none of the other guys could go there. So I went up to them. I sat like in a couch, and they sat in another couch, and I played them our first single that we've done. So it was the first song that we actually like written, that we wrote until it was done, and we produced and we mixed it and did a lot of, like, we put so much time into it. And I think they confused me with being like the producer of the band or something, because I did a lot of like mixing and producing and stuff. So after I played it to them and they gave some really good feedback, one of the guys from the team there, he came up to me and said to me that the song was great, you should just change your singer. Wow. And he, because I don't think that he like understood that I was,
it was you, right?
It was me. And I said it to him, like, I was just so shocked, so I couldn't lie or anything. I was like, yeah, well, that's me. And he's like, I can't remember his response. I've tried to think about it so much, but I can't remember it. But that was such a weird experience to be like that. I mean, like, that's really like the bottom of the bottom. I mean, like, just like, you should change that thing. Right. Change, because that will that will not work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that is basically where it all came from. I think that just like proving someone wrong, and a bit like proving yourself wrong too, because I feel like that made me work so hard and made me develop myself so much as a singer, just because I didn't like, there was also this kind of insecurity inside of me that every time I was recording or singing live or trying something, I always had that little bit of like insecurity in me. So I think that made me work so hard and realize that if you work that hard, nothing is impossible. I mean, like,
Sure.
I wouldn't change myself today, maybe a couple of years ago, but I mean,
right.
like, yeah.
No, because I know this got nothing to do with the record, but I think we're all built on, our past experiences and, and, what you've gone through. So, and it comes out in your art, and I mean, it's just part of life, right? You can't change that out.
Yeah, I think so. And also we're kind of like, I think the whole band is just like driven by motivation and encouragement. I think that we just like hard work. I think all of us, we're like, we see music production, music making as kind of like a training, like an athlete would do maybe.
Right.
Like we think that the more hours we put into the songs, the more things we can do, the more work we put into it, the better we become. Like we're not aiming for taking chances, or like we're just trying to train as much as we can and get better. And I think that kind of like motivation thing is also really helpful in this sense. And that's what we're driven by.
So if you're working on them and working on them and working on them, how do you come to a point where or is it difficult coming to a point where saying, all right, I'm done, I'm putting my baby out in the world?
Yeah, that's why the first album took so long. I think that when we started to get like, we're all perfectionists in that sense. I think that for the first album, we just drove each other insane for so long because everyone wanted it in their own way. So no one could really like it. It was too hard to work on it. So it took so long because no one felt like it. It was such a bad vibe, honestly, for some of the songs. And I think that it was such a hustle, also a good hustle. Now that I think about it, think back to it, but I think that it was really hard getting all of those songs together. So right before we were gonna do the first album, actually, we said to each other, like, either we quit this band or we just release shit. Like, we don't think about it. We just release stuff. And I think that's something that we realized have worked for us. So we try to think of songs as like, maybe we work on a song for like a week or two and then it's done. Like, you don't do anything with it. And you try to get to that point where it's done as soon as possible. And then you're kind of done with it. So you can just move on to the next one.
Right.
So it's a learning thing, I think, for us. And just a survival thing too, to be like, no, we can't do it in that way. Yeah.
Right. And I imagine that, being a perfectionist and having the balance between getting your fans the music and, moving on to that stuff, that's got to be hard because it is your baby. And I guess if you're, in that frame of mind, it's never done.
No. And I guess that's the beauty of it. I mean, like, I think that for myself, I can't speak for the other guys, but for me, I've started to think of music not as like song. It's more of like a journey. Like, I think of it as a diary more. Like, this is what I did today. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. And as long as I try to be a little bit better each day, then everything's going to be okay. So I don't feel bad about things as much anymore, or like try to get precious about things, because I just realized that what I'm doing today won't matter in 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, because that's going to be like, I'm going to do different things then. So I'm not going to stop. Like, it's better to enjoy it.
Oh, sure. And you'll evolve, and who knows what it turns into.
Exactly.
It could be electro punk or something, anything like that.
And that's totally true. And I mean, like, it's not like the end of the world if a song doesn't work out either. It's just art. It's just what we did today. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question then. So if you're on your fourth record or close to your fourth release, do you worry about writing the same record over and over again? Do you ever think about
Oh yeah. But we're gonna do that. Like, we're gonna do it.
Well,
and we're
your
gonna
signature
do it
too.
Proud. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what we're gonna do. I mean, like, I think that's just a strength of this band, and I think that that's a nice thing. We're gonna have some things to learn, and I think the best way to learn is just to do them and then realize what you've done when you put it out. I think that, like, just not thinking about things when you're doing it. Think about things when you've done it and it's out and it's done something for you, and then you can realize what you need to do better, I think, instead of like overthinking before you actually did something, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know you said you've got a show booked. What do you have planned? What's up for Solence?
I mean, like right now, it's probably like just releasing this album, the Deafening album, in a couple of weeks, or in actually 1.5 weeks.
Yeah,
That's
I'm looking
crazy.
at the calendar. Yep.
Hasn't the summer flown by so quickly? I can't even, like, holy shit. I mean, like that's the thing. Otherwise, stay in the studio for the last couple of months now. After that, it's probably some 2022 is probably going to be a lot of touring, a lot of touring.
Man, I hope you're right. I hope it's all back to normal and everybody gets to do their thing.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
That ran out my list. Do I have anything that do we need to cover anything that I missed?
No, man. I just enjoy this. Really nice talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. Usually my partner's here and we kind of keep it real casual. I know we went down a couple of rabbit holes, but I don't.
Rabbit holes are the best, right?
Yeah, I don't like the scripted. I figured we'd just talk, and we mentioned the album and everything else. It comes out on 9/10 for those listening.
Totally.
And it's called Deafening. And they can find it 2 singles, Speechless and Push Me to the Edge, online somewhere, YouTube, Bandcamp, that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. You can find them. You can find them on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Music, or on SoundCloud, or whatever you choose. You can Google it. You can do whatever.
Okay, and you just dropped your website. It's Solence.
No, we haven't gotten any websites. We're just strictly Facebook and Instagram.
All right, so let's drop those links then to the people out there.
Yep, let's do it.
You want to give them to us?
I just search Solence on YouTube or Instagram, and then you got it. Yeah,
perfect. That'll work. Absolutely perfect. Before we go, I've got 2 things for you. One, you seem to have a sense of humor.
Yep. And
so usually, I kind of read the artist and do whatever, but we've got a little segment on here. Absolutely ridiculous interview questions that we've collected over the years of doing this.
Go for it.
It's got nothing to do with anything. And I'm going to warn you, they're completely ridiculous, but I didn't make them up. We're going to do 3. It'll give us a good laugh and give your fans a chance to check the other side.
Absolutely fantastic. Let's go. All
right. So you ready? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, absolutely not. And
why
don't
though?
Like that's a thing. Like no, absolutely not.
But why though? What's your definition of a sandwich? Isn't it meat between 2 slices of bread?
Yeah, but it's linked in the bottom, and it's not a thing. Like it's supposed to be 2 different slices of bread and then it's something in between. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that little tiny bread hinge is going to discourage, it's going to say you can't be a sandwich.
No, of course not. Man. What, man? Come on. What are you even like? Are you, what side are you on?
I don't know what side. I'm probably just going to pick the opposite side of you to fuck with yourself.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah.
All right. You ready? Is cereal considered a soup?
Well, cereal, you didn't mention the milk. You just mentioned the cereal. So no, it's just dry fucking things. I guess yeah.
But is it only cereal then if you put it in milk? It can't be cereal in the box?
I think that, no, it's cereal when it's in the box. When it gets into the milk, it's a soup.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
When it gets into the milk, it's a soup. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? You got me. I can't even argue that one. So you might have it.
But it's cereal in the box. So before you combine it with the milk, then it's not like that's not a soup. It doesn't contain any liquid.
Right. All right. I'll go with you there. You stumped me actually, so I can't even go any further than that.
The IQ here is it's mind blowing. Yeah.
Are you good for one more?
Oh, shoot.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on lawn gnomes?
What is that?
Those little things that look like gnomes they put in their gardens. You guys don't do that over there?
No, we don't do that. But that's my thought is probably don't do it.
I don't have it, but there's a thing where people put these little gnomes in their garden.
Is that what you do? Like, are those some kind of like Irish thing, or is it more of like I can see in my head? I think like green things. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, like green pants and a red hat. Just like people put gnomes on their Google it when we get off here.
Yeah, I will Google
garden
it.
gnomes.
I will say right now that you can spend your money on more better things. Probably like cereal and soup.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this all right? I got one more for you.
Oh, sure. This is great.
All right. So actually, maybe I have two more because I've got about 8 minutes left before we go to the next one. What are the two things you could do back to back? Well, let's rephrase this. What are the two things you can do that when done back to back will give you the greatest disgust from somebody?
Disgust?
Or whatever. Let's see. I'm trying to find the exact, I lost it here.
What can I do?
Here we go. Ready? Let me rephrase it. What two totally normal things become really weird if you do them back to back? Sorry.
I have no idea, man. That's really weird. What two normal things does become really weird when you do them back to back? I have no idea, man. I'm out of imagination here.
All right, so I've got you now. You got me.
Yeah, you got me.
All right, so
That's crazy.
Ready? Here is the last one.
Yep.
While you're sitting in your quarantine or you're locked down in your studio, you're by yourself, a penguin walks through the door wearing a sombrero. What does he say and why is he here?
I've come to rescue you. That's what he says. And he's going to bring me to the promised land. That's what's going to happen.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't too bad. I like to throw in some laughs at the end.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You tricked me with the third one. Or the fourth one. I'm gonna think of that all evening now. I'm just gonna think about like two normal things that you can do. I'll think about like swimming and then do something. I can't like, try it like.
Well, while you're thinking of that, go look up garden gnomes. It's a thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna take from this interview. I'm gonna be frustrated for my answers, and I'm gonna think about garden gnomes. That's gonna happen.
I bet that's never happened to you before, right?
Never. This is first. Great. Love this.
I like to get a few laughs. Everybody needs them, especially myself. So that's fun.
Of course, every time, man. Every time. It's supposed to be fun. That's what that's what I am all about. Music should be fun. It should be good, and you should just enjoy life, right?
I agree. That's perfect, my friend. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for playing along.
Thank you. This was really fun.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm about 2 weeks out, so